Hey everybody, what's up? KillJoy Jake here, and instead of having friends, I have horror movies. For what is probably going to be the last Scream 5 update of 2021, we are going to be talking once again about the TikTok account, posting some pretty interesting stuff today specifically, and also when critics are going to be able to see Scream 5. Could rumors get out early about the film? We're going to talk about all that in just a second here, but first I'm going to need y'all to like this video and subscribe for more horror content. Also, please consider supporting me on Patreon. That would be pretty sick. The link for that will be in the description below. Alrighty, now let's get into it.
What's your favorite scary movie? Amen.
We'll tear your soul apart.
Well, Pennywise the dancing now.
Oh, Lord on the beat!
God, don't do that.
But sometimes, dead is better.
Now before we get into today's Scream 5 update, we do have to talk about our sponsor. Dead Souls Social Club is a podcast that talks about the strange, disturbing, macabre, and chilling, but they rely on science, cold hard evidence, and facts. Which makes the subjects they talk about all the more creepy and real, baby. You can listen to the Dead Souls Social Club podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere else you listen to podcasts. Or just visit their website at www.deadsoulsocialclub.com. If you like scary movies and horror television, you're going to love the real world alternative with the Dead Souls Social Club podcast. Oh yeah! Check out the Dead Souls Social Club podcast today and tell them KillJoy Jake sent ya. I don't know how, send him a message or something. Find him on social media. Be like, yo, that KillJoy Jake guy on YouTube, the guy who screams at the camera all the time. He told me to come check out this podcast. So getting into the latest Too Brash Sarah video, which is of course a TikTok account that is apparently run by the Scream marketing team. If you've been watching some of my past videos, you might know that I've been kind of talking about some of their other videos where they've been like kind of leaking stuff about our characters that we might not have known before. This was something that we kind of already had confirmed, but the TikTok account did kind of confirm recently that Chad and Mindy Meeks Martin are the niece and nephew of Randy Meeks. Obviously, he's a really popular character in the first Scream. If you don't know that, I don't know what to tell you, fam. But they posted a video today that is probably the most interesting of all of them. It's the video of Sam Carpenter, who is like one of the main characters of this new Scream film, and she's kind of going on this rant about how she can't really trust anybody, she doesn't know what's going on, she doesn't even know like who she is anymore. I'll play the video for you now.
There's something seriously wrong with this town. I can't believe this is happening. I don't know who to trust. I don't even trust myself.
So Sam says a lot of things about how this town is pretty crazy, she doesn't know who to trust, but the last thing she says, which is probably the most poignant of this entire video, is where she specifically says she can't trust herself. Now it's an interesting comment coming from her. We've kind of learned from like a character description that came out a little while ago that she's like suffering from some kind of mental illness. She's even seeing different ghost faces come at her when no one's really there. We saw that, a little bit of that in a TV spot that came out recently. So that's something that's obviously going to affect the plot. Now I've talked about this a little bit in the past before. I feel like if they do this, this is kind of a touchy subject to write in for one of your main characters. I've talked about how some other horror films in the past have done this in a kind of a distasteful way, and I hope that they don't do that again in a more modern film. That would not make this film age very well at all, which is something I'm kind of worried about with this new Scream film. But if done in the right way, she can become a very relatable character that people suffering from very similar things could relate to, which would be great. But like I said, it can also go the route of like making fun of people like that, and that's just kind of distasteful to me. Especially if they make Sam the killer after all of this. In my opinion, that sucks. We shouldn't be making people like who have like just a typical mental illness into killers, because what that does is it gives like a really misleading image of what that mental illness could be or what it actually leads to. Mental illnesses, for the most part, don't make people kill other people, which is something that I would be really against if they decided to take that route in the new Scream film. I've got my fingers crossed that Sam is not the killer, because I'm gonna be very unhappy if that's the case. Something that I think would be cool for them to maybe like dive into just a little bit, nothing too crazy, but to have Sam struggle with like an internal conflict of thinking like, could I be Ghostface? Like she doesn't even trust herself that much. See, that would be like a really interesting character thing to dive into, to see like her like not trusting her own self. Like she can't trust, she's already paranoid about the people around her. Like then to not be able to trust her own self because of her like mental stability. I think that would be pretty interesting. But once again, if they go the route of like, oh, she's the killer the whole time, that's gonna be kind of distasteful in my eyes. But I think it would make for one of the coolest and most inventive red herrings in this entire entire franchise. So moving on to the next bit of news here, it was recently revealed that on January 6th at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time, the social embargo would lift on Scream 5. So basically what that means is that critics, Rotten Tomato critics, reviewers, all that jazz, would be able to post about the film without spoiling anything. Now the thing is, that's kind of loose on terms of things you can talk about, things you can spoil, whatever. Especially when you're reviewing a movie, it's kind of hard to not spoil things, and some critics, unfortunately, sometimes ruin things for movies. We saw it happen earlier this year with the latest Venom film, but the point I'm trying to make is I really hope from the bottom of my heart some jerk reviewer out there doesn't just go and spoil the whole movie. It's something that I'm kind of worried about, honestly. Depending on what you guys think, I might disable comments January 6th and on for my Scream videos, at least. I'm kind of thinking about it, because I personally don't want it ruined for me either. Like I've talked about this a little bit in the past, I have never been able to see a Scream film for the first time in the theaters with a group of people who also have not seen it. I have tickets for Thursday night, and I really do not want it spoiled for me before I see this. With murder mystery films, this is kind of a tough situation to talk about. It's like, yeah, like some people rely on critics to go see movies and shit. So it's like, yeah, I want them to see the movie early so that they can put their reviews out there, but at the same time, it's like, we can't trust critics anymore nowadays. It's something that we've unfortunately learned the hard way. There's a part of me that just wants to say, like, screw it, let's just not show this movie until Thursday night. You know, like, I don't know. It's a tough situation to call, because like some people won't even go to a movie unless they read a certain review from a critic. It's a tough situation to call. So honestly, I think January 6th, I might just disable the comments. I'm kind of leaning towards that so that like I don't get anything in my comment section about that. And it's gonna be tough. I'll probably have a lot of people dislike that, which sucks, but it might be what I have to do. I don't want this movie spoiled for me either. I have dedicated so much of my life to talking about this film over the past 2 years, like to have it spoiled would just be such a disappointment. I really hope that doesn't happen, and I might have to disable the comments. So I'm just kind of warning you all about that now. Might have to disable the comments January 6th. If I hear about something getting leaked or whatever, and I might avoid social media. I'm not gonna stop posting videos though, of course. Like I just can't do that. There's just gonna be way too much excitement about the new Scream film. I already had that kind of happen with Halloween Kills. They didn't spoil everything, but they spoiled one thing that I thought was pretty cool about the film, and I'm still kind of upset about that. So what do you guys think about like that social embargo lift thing? And also, what do you think about this Two Brash Sarah video that just came out today? Leave me a comment about it down below while you can. Thank you all so much for watching my new Scream 5 update. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more horror content. Sorry today's video was kind of grim. I always like to keep it cheery and fun here, but you know, sometimes you gotta talk about the darker side of the fandom, the toxic side, unfortunately. If I haven't already said this, make sure to subscribe, follow me on my socials, check out my Patreon if you can. That would be pretty sick. It would mean the world to me. The link for all those things in the description below. Hit that little red button on my page. Hit the bell button too, so you get notified every single time I freaking upload. Thank you all again for watching, and as always, don't forget to kill it out there, y'all.